Hello, and welcome back to Complexity Leadership for Practitioners. In this session, I'll be taking a look at some application examples. Before we get into the examples, let's first think about what we're trying to achieve when applying these ideas. Complexity leadership is, for most organisations, a new idea which gives an opportunity to improve leadership. But why improve leadership if your current leadership seems to be adequate? Arguably, all issues seen within an organisation can be traced back to a leadership problem. Specifically, either failure to set something up to succeed or failure to respond effectively to something which damages success. You could say that leadership breaks down into proactive and reactive elements. So how do our 5 leadership modes fit with this idea? Direction, strategic administration, and tactical administration are all proactive. They try to set up the organisation or the team to succeed. They assume when they do this that things will progress as anticipated. Enabling leadership and adaptive leadership are both reactive. Both modes of leadership compare the anticipated or planned for situation with the current reality and try to correct differences between them. When those differences are not advantageous, where they are advantageous, they feed back to the other leadership modes to change the plan or the expectation. While this process can never be perfect, it can be optimal for a given circumstance, team, and set of resources. When we look at the list of what can go wrong with the proactive leadership modes, some of the problems can come from them becoming reactive. This can be the result of a lack of leadership leading to a lack of control. It could be the result of an unexpected change in the environment. Whatever the cause, when the modes that should be proactive become reactive, they become ineffective, so they can no longer deliver their leadership objective. When we lose the proactive element, which may be the result of a significant change in the environment or organisation, it can be hard to get things back under control. The more you can optimise your complexity leadership, the more agility and resilience you will achieve. Both tactical administration and enabling leadership are soft examples of proactive and reactive. Tactical administration is proactive because it involves planning and gathering resource to achieve delivery. It must have a reactive element because the plans and resource must be adjusted as needed to respond to emergent events. Enabling leadership is reactive because it primarily assists the team in navigating the unexpected hurdles and barriers which emerge during delivery. But it must have a proactive element, as it must always reference the plan and the overall goal. By comparison, the other leadership modes are harder examples of proactive and reactive, although every mode must contain both to some small extent, a bit like the yin and the yang of leadership. Let's take a look at an example of a project team and a service team. Time for some examples. Let's take a look at an example of a project team. And this team here has two nominal leaders, a project manager and a team lead, shown red in the diagram to the left. This structure has been set up to enable a clear demarcation between tactical administration and enabling leadership. Together, the two leaders created the plan and agreed the budget. This done, the project manager takes ownership of the plan and budget. The team lead is responsible for getting the team to meet the plan within the budget. They're also responsible for the quality of the work. The team lead talks regularly to each member of the team and checks how they're progressing, what methods they're using. They're looking for blockers, and they're looking for team members being distracted by out-of-scope work, or maybe going off in the wrong direction. As far as possible, they guide the team to be able to maintain the plan and the budget. When something arises which doesn't fit within the plan, the team leader discusses this with the project manager. The plan now needs to be adjusted and the impact of this change assessed. Perhaps the sponsor or customer will need to be informed. Some budget from the contingency reserve will need to be used. Perhaps some extra help will be needed. Whatever the consequences, the leaders work together to agree the best path. This team may only be together for the duration of the project. The leaders may also be leading other projects at the same time. This is a very flexible structure which has been created to deliver a project. It only has one purpose and may be disbanded once that is achieved, so that the individuals can be utilised in other projects. In this example, the project manager handles the tactical administration while the team lead is the enabling leader. The demarcation of enabling leadership and tactical administration is normally quite clear in a project team. For a service team, it can be less obvious. Let's take a look at an example of a service team. This is a team such as IT, HR, commercial, and so on. Some of their work is planned and structured, but a lot of it is ad hoc and caused by others within the organisation needing support. This is shown by the green people on the diagram interfacing to the team. They have a single leader who will need to be both their enabling leader and their tactical administrative leader. They can enact their enabling leadership by helping the team resolve customer inquiries. But how can they plan and budget if the work is ad hoc? While they do not know how the work will arrive, they can plan to achieve a certain capacity and, within that capacity, a certain capability. That is to say, they can plan to have a certain distribution of skills and experience within their team. This plan would normally be based on the average expected demand, but could be based on projected growth or whatever makes sense strategically. In the ideal world, they'll use information from the direction leadership mode to inform their decision. Of course, the demand will not arrive in a regular flow. The peaks and troughs in demand can be managed using a priority logic. Ideally, the internal customers would understand that priority logic, reducing conflict. When looking at the distribution of delivery leadership modes in the service team, we see that, despite them only having one leader, There are two distinct mindsets needed to define the team and allow them to perform efficiently. One involves interaction with the team. The other is either a standalone task or is done in communication with stakeholders in the wider organisation. They really are two very different things, even though they're done by one person. That concludes part 5 of the series. Look out for more presentations on complexity leadership in the future.